Hello, and welcome back to NRI Woman, the show where we share amazing stories of women of Indian origin living across the world. We hope in sharing these stories, you are inspired, learn something new, or simply know you are not alone in the struggles you face. I'm Bettina.
And I'm Nonora. We're thrilled to have you with us today. Please like, comment, and subscribe to support our growing community. We have exciting news. You can now find our show on YouTube as well. Just search for NRI Woman Podcast. Joining us today is the wonderfully multifaceted Aarti Patel. With degrees in psychology and computer engineering, her passions range from writing to cooking to Bollywood dance. An avid painter, Aarti revels in both logic and artistic expressions. Her unique blend of talents sparked our curiosity. How did Aarti become so adept at integrating the technical and the creative?
So, what I do believe is that, right from my childhood, I was very fortunate to nurture and appreciate both my creative right side and analytical left side of my brain. So, my mother is a doctor. Okay, it was more natural for me to adopt that stream. But incidentally, so happened that was an era where technological advancements were more prominent, right? And newer out of the box solutions were changing the world. So, win-win for both sides of my brain. I decided to build a career in technology, with innovation being its silver lining. So, being in the technical field for the last 15, 16 plus years or so, and getting the opportunities to really pursue my creative side, I think, and the creative side, not just in the field of arts, but also in the field of technology. I think that's been something that has motivated me all throughout. I strongly believe that, the whole is much more than the sum of individual parts, right? Every one of us have like multiple facets that typically we tend to ignore, or rather we become comfortable with what's a given. And that's where I feel that we restrict ourselves in terms of imagination, creativity, and so on. So I think I was blessed with my family background and my parents who always encouraged the fact that I do what I feel like, meaning even in terms of speaking up my mind, challenging the status quo, which is probably what most of us have been trained to do. I have always been pushed, I would say, to explore what's out there, right? So, not restricting or thinking, okay, this is how it is supposed to be. I was given the chance to actually explore. So, for quite a long time, I did believe that, I wanted to be a doctor. That was meaning my mom being a doctor. I wanted to get into that field. All my family friends around me, my uncles, my aunties, all have been in the medical field. So that's been a very strong driving force, meaning to such a point that I believe I used to call myself my mom's assistant. I could prescribe basic level, medication, which is not healthy. I don't do that anymore. But yeah, meaning growing up, that curiosity was always been in me.
Aarti was blessed to grow up in a family that nourished her curiosity and encouraged her to freely explore her passions. This, unfortunately, is still a rarity for girls in many Indian communities. While norms are gradually shifting, the remnants of patriarchal thinking continue to constrain possibilities for girls. Education, career pursuits, hobbies, even clothing choices remain heavily conditioned by societal expectations. But Aarti's parents were remarkably progressive. They recognized and nurtured her vibrant inner world. This was also shaped in large part by the strong female role models surrounding Aarti.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate from my early days to live and follow extremely strong women in my life who have inspired me to be who I am. Like right from my mother, as I mentioned, she was the first of her 9 siblings to graduate, and the one who, while she was completing her own studies, encouraged her younger siblings to pursue education as well. Next definitely is my mother-in-law, who is a farmer. Now, as farming is the backbone of India, contributing to India's second rank worldwide in farm outputs, right? But being a farmer, staying in the village, probably with limited opportunities that are available in the rural area, she was the one who continued her education after she got married. And even today, she encourages most of the women in her village to get into studies, get educated, get the basic know how of how things happen in the real world. my sister and my sister-in-law. Now, both are leading successful professionals in their respective fields. So I believe I have always been fortunate to be surrounded by very strong women. I encourage definitely with my own kid now. She just going to be starting high school here, and she aspires to be a Harvard lawyer. Okay, so hopefully, what I have learned through my elders, I would want to pass it on to my daughter. So I have always taught her one basic truth of life, right? That each one of us is enough. Now, when I say enough, enough is to be happy, enough is to be successful. We actually do not need anybody or anything to make us complete. So, like we always feel that we have as a woman, I have seen that sometimes we blame ourselves for some things that do not go right in our lives. At the same time, we fail to take the responsibility or advantage of things that do go right. So I think we have this natural personality trait where we say, okay, everything good is happening, fine. Everything bad is happening, it's because of me. So I think we have to stop blaming ourselves and look at the broader picture and always give ourselves the opportunity to be complete and continue learning, continue performing well, improving on ourselves, and most important of all, not to stop to believe in ourselves. I think that's the most important part that I have learned and I have passed on to my children as well.
While a nurturing family can pave the path, ultimately the drive to excel must come from within. At some point, inner passion takes over, fueling growth more than any external force can. When curiosity and commitment stems from one's core, the heights become limitless. For Aarti, this intrinsic motivation is what allowed her to fully spread her wings.
So, first and foremost, as I said, that belief in yourself is the most important first stepping stone. And I believe, other things that add on to the way that we look at things, being a woman, I think the word woman itself is very intimidating, right? When we said woman, and I break it down to understand it further, world of men is essentially what women. I consider that from that perspective, and like you, right, and like many of the others in the world, meaning when I look at the world, I individually feel that definitely there should be a very happy life regardless of color, race or gender, right? Meaning that's why the topic of women empowerment is very near and dear to my heart. And I think women empowerment means different things to different people. For me, it specifically means that we have to help each other as women, but most importantly, also self-empower, right? I think that's something that's in yourself, meaning, as I said before, you do not need anybody else to self-motivate you. So, believing in yourself is definitely the first step that I would say anyone should probably look at. And then again, from there on, I believe there are different shades of life experiences that each one of us kind of gather as we move along. Some of them might include situations which dampen the enthusiasm. Some of them could make you feel or doubt yourself time and again. But like baby steps, right? Like a baby step is when the baby starts walking. The first step is like a huge milestone. So I believe that if you even now, meaning irrespective of any gender for that matter, if you take that first step, towards what you want to achieve, that is going to change your life forever. So believe in yourself, take that first step, and continue going is, I think, what will push you through and help you achieve what you aspire for.
Aarti recognizes that it's still not the norm for many women to grow up with family support and gender equality. Given her progressive upbringing, Aarti feels a responsibility to promote women's empowerment. Her passion comes through in her writing. While not labeling herself a feminist, Aarti believes in elevating all women.
Like today's society probably stereotypes women like you're this either ice queen persona, cold-hearted, aggressive, who doesn't care about anyone but herself, or on the other extreme you have this housewife persona, right, like a subdued, weak and powerless individual who will do anything to please people around her. I wanted to showcase that we as women are much more than that. Again, going back to my point of whole is more than the sum of parts. I do believe every individual has much more than it is made out to be. So I wanted to break this myth. The other very strong factor I have noticed over the years, and this is irrespective of the country that I have lived in. I think I have traveled to the UK, I have been to other parts of Asia as well. I think overall, in the world, it's a it's a proper cliche that women can only be jealous of each other, right? They cannot help each other out. They do not support each other. So when I was writing this book, I wanted to make sure that I break this myth, right? In this housewife, you will find two characters who are the main characters, both women. Both are best friends. Their character names are Ava and Jennifer, and they continue to show and demonstrate in the storyline that they build each other strong, and in extremely difficult times in their life they have stood with each other, not pulling each other down, supporting to the best of their capacity. This was one aspect that I wanted to highlight.
For many women, speaking up to empower others can ironically create self-doubt. There's this pressure to perfectly represent womanhood and fear of letting others down. Nagging inner voices can make even the most confident feel unqualified or undeserving. Aarti has had those moments too. So how does she quiet the uncertainty and reclaim faith in her worthiness when self-belief falters?
That's a very interesting question, and I've struggled myself as well. But as I said, keep going has been the mantra that I have been followed throughout. I also believe, right? I do recollect well that our current Vice President Kamala Harris's mother, Dr. Shamla Gopalan, once said, and I read it in one of the interviews back then, and I quote here that a culture that worships goddesses produces strong women, right? So in India, I have seen a very strong culture wherein the power of strong women has been evident for hundreds and thousands of years, be it through mythology and history. I think that's something that we need to remind ourselves to make sure that we do not forget the power of Shakti. Now, that could be constructive or destructive, but obviously, I'm hoping for the constructive power to overcome you and bring the best in you out. So, I think that's where, believing in yourself is the most important part. I mean, nobody else can do that for you. That is something in your own control, and that is something that we sometimes forget, that the power is within you, not necessarily trying to look outside you. So if you continue to focus internally in getting yourself happy, you identify things which make you happy, and I think that internal motivation keeps you going. That has what kept me going throughout these years.
Aarti dreams of a world where everyone can live their lives freely, without being restricted by color, race, or gender. She is hopeful about the endless possibilities life holds for humanity. Aarti values the constant opportunities for personal and collective growth, both internally and externally.
I think I love the fact that at one moment I can be a tech wizard, and the very next I could be a self-declared master chef. I could be dancing to a rocking beat, a Bollywood tune for that matter, and in the next moment I could be painting different strokes. I can be the woman in business, professionally, talking technology, talking business, and then the very next second I could be like the best kid to my son, who is now just turned 9. I appreciate the different experiences actually that life offers, and I hope that my kids grow up to be independent, confident individuals who are loving and caring, not to the immediate family, but to the community as such. I do hope that the world is going to be better post pandemic. Everybody is going to be stronger, healthier, and with what we can do, again going back, be kind to each other. I think that's the one thing again that helps you complete yourself as a human being. That's something that is unique to the human race, and sometimes we fail to recognize that or remind ourselves of being that kind person. I think being kind is just the way that will complete yourself as an individual.
Aarti finds strength through kindness as she strives to empower others. As Aarti continues uplifting marginalized voices, her North Star is fulfilling purposes in all its dimensions as a mother, artist, learner, leader. She moves forward undeterred by uncertainty, for she knows the path ahead leads to empowerment for both those she seeks to inspire and her own ongoing blossoming. As Maya Angelou said, "My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style." Like Dr. Angelou, Aarti is committed to thriving while uplifting others with a spirit of passion, purpose, and humanity. I'm Nanora.
And I'm Bettina. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope you'll join us again for our episode next week. We can be found at nriwoman.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Just look for NRI Woman. If you or someone you know has a story to share, please get in touch with us at hello@nriwoman.com. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at NRI Woman Podcast. Please help us spread the stories of these amazing women by sharing it with your friends and family. You can find the details to connect with the guests in our show notes. NRI Woman episodes come out every Thursday, so make sure you subscribe. Until next time, keep learning, keep inspiring, and be kind.